Member for Pascoe Vale.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. It's a pleasure to rise on this amazing bill. And to begin with, I just want to begin by clarifying and picking up on something that the member for Bryden keeps alleging time and time again, which is that there is no CDS here in the Melbourne CBD. Apparently there's no CDS. But the reality is, and the fact is, that we do have a coalition deposit scheme right here at Parliament House in the heart of the Melbourne CBD. And it's a CDS that has just seen opposition leader after opposition leader recycled and recycled, beginning with the member for Malvern, then the member for Bulleen twice, then the member for Hawthorn, now it might be the member for Berwick, the member for Sandringham, Kew, who knows who's next. The CDS is here at Parliament House, the coalition deposit scheme. So on that sense, let the record show that we do have a CDS here. And in doing so, I do rise to, of course, support, Acting Speaker, the Environment Legislation Amendment, Circular Economy and Other Matters Bill. And I would like to begin by commending, of course, the Ministers D'Ambrosio, Minister Stitt and Minister Dimopoulos and their teams and departments and all the stakeholders that have been involved for so long to help bring together this legislation, this bill, and to help roll out the first container deposit scheme, not coalition deposit scheme, but container deposit scheme, and I commend them for bringing this work to the House. As I said in my first speech, the environment is fundamental to all life on Earth. It produces the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the materials, resources and food that are essential for all life on the planet. And as a local member, but also as a local parent, I am committed to helping leave behind a world in as good, if not better condition, as the one that our grandparents left to us, Deputy Speaker. That is why I have always been a strong supporter of meaningful action to preserve our environment, combat climate change and transition towards a more sustainable way of living. And in this respect, I am very proud to be part of the Allied Labor government, which is embarking on the most ambitious strategy in the state's history to deliver a new world-class recycling system, which will provide for both statewide and local grassroots benefits in communities. Supported by a record $515 million of investment through the Recycling Victoria, a new economy strategy, it sets out Victoria's plan for a cleaner state with less pollution while creating more jobs. And key priorities and actions contained throughout this plan, and several of which are being progressed through measures in this bill, include the rollout of the, of course, 4-stream waste and recycling system, the new purple and glass bin for all households across the state, for better and more recycling and less waste. We're changing how Victorians recycle materials through this system so that materials can be collected from households and are better separated, sorted and of higher quality so that they can be used again to make new products, particularly by separating cardboard and glass. We're creating a stronger waste and recycling industry with new infrastructure and innovative waste management solutions for better and more recycling and reuse and less waste. New recycling laws and governance have already been introduced to support best practice waste management, resource use and recycling. We're encouraging investment into appropriate waste-to-energy facilities that reduces dependence on landfills, which this bill also goes to, and the member for Morwell, I believe, touched on. A statewide ban on single-use plastics and promotion of reusable items that reduce waste and pollution for a cleaner and healthier environment. And of course, the landmark Cash for Cans scheme, or the container deposit scheme, which is at the heart of this bill and which has now commenced as of the 1st November, with 1 million containers successfully being recycled on the very first day of its operation across over, I believe, 300 sites that we've formed part of the initial rollout. And the CDS, of course, is rewarding the return of used drink cans, cartons and bottles for recycling, whilst reducing litter in local communities, parks, waterways and streetscapes, and which I'll focus on in the substance of my contribution shortly. When combined, Deputy Speaker, these game-changing reforms will help us build a new circular economy across Victoria, which will have a number of benefits, including helping us build a more sustainable and thriving circular economy for a cleaner Victoria, and a circular economy and recycling system that Victorians can trust, reducing our carbon emissions and contribute to Victoria's net zero emissions by 2045 target, including by namely abating greenhouse gas emissions across the waste sector, significantly increasing the quality and volume of recycling and reuse of our precious resources and reduce reliance on virgin materials. And it will reduce waste, landfill and litter across communities, as I said, across parks, waterways and streetscapes. These reforms will be the catalyst to help us create a wave of new economic and jobs growth across the state's circular economy, recycling and waste sector, via potentially boosting Victoria's economy by up to $6.7 billion by improving material efficiency and recycling. It'll help create at least 3,900 plus new jobs and establish new skills in design, repair, efficiency and material usage across Victoria. It'll help create new industry and businesses across the circular economy, including through research and development, material research, product design, repair, refurbishment, resale, reuse and product leasing. It'll produce cost savings for households, not just through the 10-cent refund of the CDS, but also through increasingly improved product durability and resilience over time as we move through strengthening our circular economy. And also, of course, improve social inclusion through local initiatives that support repair cafes, product sharing and community composting, which the member for Broadmeadow has actually touched on extensively across our shared communities of interest. Overall, these reforms will help us drive behaviour change and awareness across communities and households, with Victorians to have the information and tools they need to reduce waste by reusing, sharing and recycling products. And Acting Speaker, the benefits of moving to a circular economy are widestretched, and this bill will continue to facilitate our state's move in this direction. Since the launch of Victoria's Labor government's Recycling Victoria and Circular Economy Plan in February 2020, the state's waste and recycling sector has entered a period of dynamic and positive change. The Circular Economy Act gave effect to important components of the Circular Economy Plan, including the establishment of Victoria's Container Deposit Scheme. The Act also established the foundational powers and functions of the Head of Recycling Victoria, a dedicated business unit within the Department of Energy, Environment and Climate Action. Subsequently, the Environment Legislation Amendment of 2022 was then passed. This Act amended the Circular Economy Act to provide further key policy elements. It also established Victoria's Waste to Energy Scheme, which will introduce an annual cap on waste that can be processed in thermal waste to energy facilities in Victoria and associated licensing scheme. Recycling Victoria has since commenced the first stage of this licensing scheme for existing waste to energy products. Significant progress has since been made towards delivering on this commitment through Recycling Victoria, as supported by the relevant frameworks in the Act. Some issues, however, have been identified during the implementation of the CDS and the waste to energy schemes that need to be resolved to fully realise the benefits of these schemes to the community and the state. And this bill introduces the relevant amendments that address these issues to clarify and streamline the operation of the Circular Economy Act. In particular, the bill supports the efficient operation of the Victorian Government's flagship CDS program, which commenced as of yesterday, as I said. The CDS, of course, will allow the return of the used drink cans, bottles and cartons for a 10-cent refund at various locations, including shopping centres, collection depots and over-the-counter refund points. The bill will amend the Circular Economy Act to clarify the cost recovery mechanism for the Container Deposit Scheme to ensure that the regulator, Recycling Victoria, is able to recover all of its costs associated with the schemes. It will enable a new periodic licence fee to prescribed in regulations to provide a mechanism for the Head of Recycling Victoria to recover these ongoing costs and monitor compliance. It will establish Recycling Victoria Fund divided into the Container Deposit Scheme account and the Waste to Energy Scheme account to support cost recovery for these respective schemes, and it will minimise the operational risks of the CDS and ensure it operates as intended. And there's also reforms contained in this bill for the Environment Protection Act accordingly. And locally, Acting Speaker, across my community of Pascoe, Coburg and Brunswick West, these reforms will help us with the continued rollout of the Circular Economy Strategy and the Container Deposit Scheme. Locally, we already have 5 convenient locations where locals can now go to exchange their bottles, cans and plastics over the counter for a 10-cent refund, including at Coburg 7 Days at 60 Sydney Road, Coburg O'Hay Street Convenience Store, 156 O'Hay Street, Coburg Mr and Mrs Cafe on Melville Road, 135 Melville Road, Brunswick West Coonans Hill Bottle Shop at 61 Coonans Road in Pascoe, and the Friendly Grocer in Coburg North at 23 Maryland Street, Coburg North. For more information on the CDS rollout, I encourage everyone locally to go to www.cdsvic.org.au for more information and other nearby locations. Acting Speaker, I'm also fortunate to actually have the major Visy Recycling and Packaging Centre in Charles Street in Coburg North in my electorate too. Visy plays a major role, of course, across the state, but also across my community through the provision of good quality local jobs and circular economy outcomes. Employing over 130 local workers at the factory, the site manufactures cans for Victoria's growers and producers for many of the communities that regional MPs in this area actually represent. And these food cans can be recycled through everyone's recycle bins and go back into new products, and it's a great example of the circular economy in action in each of our respective communities. These cans from my constituents' bins are then usually sorted through the material recovery facility that Visy operates in Banyule, which is in the member for Ivanhoe's electorate. I'm actually really looking forward to visiting Visy in North Coburg very soon. We've been talking about it for a while, but the visit's coming up and I'm looking forward to meeting local workers on site there. And of course, there's many other opportunities I believe we can continue to leverage off the back of this bill and off the back of ongoing circular economy reforms, Deputy Speaker, for my community, in particular along the Newlands Road Employment and Industrial Precinct, where we have the other Visy Resource Centre in Reservoir and the member for Preston's electorate, where we also have the Darebin Resource Resource and Recovery Centre along Newlands Road, and to the south is the Coburg North Centre I've just mentioned. I believe there's a lot of opportunity to build off those initiatives to do more.